one little weird thing I have to fix.
This meeting is being recorded.
Got it. So there's just one little technical faux pas here. I've never seen this before. I don't know if Zoom changed it. You guys can see the screen, right? But we can't. Optimize for video. No.
Are you trying to see like?
We want to talk about harnessing the power of
This
social
meeting
media.
is being recorded.
And I'll say that again. Today we want to talk about harnessing the power of social media. And this obviously is a Realtor Toolbox series that's provided to you by the Synergy community. And we always try to keep you guys informed and in the know and give you the best tips and tricks that we always can. And a little bit about ourselves. I know some of you probably know us, some of you may not, but it's just good to let you know who you're dealing with. I have been in the industry. This is like our professional bios, but we'll just keep it a little more simple than that since these are so stuffy. I've been in the industry for 35 years. So, you know, you're talking to an old dog. When I started in the business, we didn't have computers, let alone iPhones, let alone social media. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve for me. Back in the day when we wrote contracts, we hand wrote contracts in triplicate papers and then had to drive around to everybody to get signatures. So with technology and all these incredible new platforms that we have available to us and at our fingertips, sometimes it can be absolutely overwhelming. You know, which platforms should I use? Which ones are the best ones? How do I use them? How do I manage it? And how do I be effective? So these are all things that, you know, an old dog like me had to learn throughout a 35-year career. And I primarily focus in commercial real estate, but I practiced residential real estate for 30 years. I still run a residential team. So I'm pretty versed in both sides of the coin. And that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Stewart. For anybody who doesn't know me, I was born and raised in Las Vegas. So I grew up here, so I intimately know the city pretty well. It's been growing like crazy. I played sports growing up, and then about 3 years ago, I got into real estate, and I burned all the boats from the day I got in, and I'm all in real estate. So that's what I do.
I love it. So with that, we will move ahead to housekeeping matters. We have one housekeeping matter. Does anybody have a guess what it is?
Participate, speak,
Yes.
jump in.
Please do, because I think that we can all learn from each other, right? The worst thing that can happen is that Daniel and I are sitting here and talking at you guys. So pepper it in with questions and pepper it in with stories and give us your perspective on things because I think it's going to make it a lot more informational. We're going to learn a lot more and we're going to get a lot more value out of this session here. So that's housekeeping matters, and use your chat button and just chime right in. There's no rules as far as that's concerned. So we're going to jump right in. So what are the rules of social media, right? So we're going to demystify social media altogether together today, right here. The number one rule of social media is to build brand awareness. So when you guys hear brand awareness, what do you think? And this is one of those times for you to chime in.
People know who we are.
Absolutely. People know who you are. As soon as they see a post, as soon as they see a video, oh my gosh, that's Allie Orsi. Any other comments about brand awareness? So look, the prime example of brand awareness is your, sitting at home, Daniel's sitting at home, and his wife comes walking through the door, or soon to be wife comes walking through the door, and she has this orange shoebox with a white swoosh on it. What does she got? She has a pair of Nikes. We all know it. It doesn't have to even say Nike or Nike. This guy was working out in my gym the other morning, and his socks had really tall red palm trees on them. And I went, oh my gosh, those are In-N-Out Burger socks. And I had to get closer to verify. However, that brand was so succinct. Who has red palm trees? Nobody but In-N-Out Burger, right? So brand awareness, branding yourself is a lot about visual, right? So in other words, it's about, you know, picking a brand and sticking with it. So color palettes, styles. So when you post something or when you post a video, when you post an asset, you want that brand to shine through every single time, such that if somebody is thumb scrolling on their phone, you know, and they're just kind of like trolling through internet, when they see that asset, they fundamentally know it's you in an instant without ever seeing your name. And that doesn't happen overnight. By no means at all whatsoever does that happen overnight. That comes through consistency, you know? The other part of your brand, the other side of the coin, it's not just the visual, it's also your beingness and who you are. So I see Yvonne on the right corner over here. Yvonne has this incredible spirit and this incredible heart. And when Yvonne comes on to do a video, she is 100% branding herself and being authentic to who she is every single time, you know? So brands in and of themselves can look different in many different ways. It's just important that you start to think about posting and doing things with intention versus just because, you know, and building your brand is one of the most important things that you can do for recognition. And here's the thing, don't worry about what all the other real estate agents are doing out there. Don't look at other people's brands and say, oh, they're, you know, this guy over here is doing this and he seems to be doing a lot of business, so I'm going to do what he does. I'm not saying don't learn and get tips and tricks from people who are killing it out there on social media. I'm just saying take their ideas and make them your own, right? No one that walks the planet can be you. So your brand has to be 100% unique to you. And that also doesn't happen overnight. You know, there are classes on figuring out what your brand should be. If anybody has ever done any work from Donald Miller, what's the name of his company?
Donald Miller, I actually don't know. Building your brand.
Building your brand. You can go on YouTube and you could just search Donald Miller building your brand, and you are going to get hours and hours and hours of really easy diagrams, if you will, and charts that you can complete that will lead you to what your brand is. The other thing is you want your brand to scream what you do, right? So, you know, if I go up to, for instance, the name of my group or my team is the Junge Group. Well, I could be a CPA firm. I could do your taxes. I could be an attorney. Who knows what the Junge Group is, right? It doesn't say that we sell real estate. So by realizing that, we've added a tagline to our logo that says the Junge Group, we sell real estate and have fun doing it. So now we've incorporated, we're legal because the team name has my last name in it, but we've added a tagline that whenever we post that or promote it, people know exactly what we do. Okay, they're in the real estate game. Cool, right? So your brand also has to identify exactly what you do. Otherwise, people just simply aren't going to know. The second thing, build brand authenticity. So I touched a little bit on authenticity, but I want to do a really, really, really deep dive on that. So when you think of authenticity and you think of yourself, what comes to mind? I would love to hear from you guys. As it relates to your real estate business and as it relates to you personally, because the two you'll find on social media need to interact and intermingle.
Caring and being of service.
Absolutely, Allie, 100%. And not only is that how you operate in your life, but that's how you operate in your business. We've been on the other end of transactions, and I've watched you give incredible service to your clients, and I know how much you cared about them. That little house up in Piccoli Ranch, remember? You're like, Pammy, this is the house.
They love it still. They so love it. So cute.
I'm so happy. Yeah, so caring and of service. What are some other authenticities out there for you guys individually, personally?
with transparency.
I love it. Open and transparent. So when you hire me, you're going to know it all. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be transparent. Not everything is going to be pretty, but guess what? We're going to deliver the information. We're going to deliver the news, and we're going to work through it. You will always get honesty and transparency from Patricia. Anything else? Who else is on there?
I would also add to that compassion for your clients, to really put yourself in the place where they are and empathize with what they're doing and going through.
Absolutely. Sometimes we forget how stressful it is acquiring and disposing of property, right? Especially in the residential market. You're dealing with people's homes, you're dealing with their livelihood, you're dealing with the very foundation of their family, right? And there are so many things that come into play with that. And it can be daunting for a lot of people. So that's where caring and compassion and openness and transparency, that's where all of those things come into play, where you can deliver your authentic self and be of service to people. So with that being said, being unapologetically and authentically you also means not hiding things about you that are personal to a degree. We're talking about your hobbies, your skills, your likes, your dislikes. So for a lot of you, I would love to hear from every one of you. How many people out there think that it's still a good thing to separate your business social media from your personal social media? Are any of you guys out there doing that?
Yes, I do.
Lee, if you spoke, I can't hear you.
Yes, I have a separate account for personal social media and for business.
Okay.
But I do, combine a little bit of both.
Okay. Oh, good. What about you, Yvonne? Oh, we can't hear you. You're still muted. Well, anyone else who wants to jump in? Well, the question on the table is, how do you feel about separating or combining your personal and your professional social media?
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay, good.
So I think I need to merge the two because it's so hard because one is a personal account and one's a business account. And whenever I post I'm so confused about what's going to go where or if the music's going to go through, and oh my God, it's a mess. It's a hot mess for me.
It's overwhelming, right?
It is.
I love it. I love your Facebook page, Yvonne. I really do.
Thank you.
It shows both sides and it's just so engaging. I think yours is one of the best. And so is Kim Maddie's. Hers is also outstanding.
Thank you.
So here's the good news, guys. For those of you that are overwhelmed trying to manage personal and professional pages, I have really good news for you. Get over it. Do away with them. You need one. You need one page. And let me tell you why. Is because we're talking about authenticity, and you're trying to build a brand. You're trying to build your tribe. You want your tribe to be able to find you. And people will resonate with you and hire you because of your personal side as well, if not more than what you've proven on social media based on your professional acumen. So believe it or not, we are very simple human beings. So in fact, it's social media to a degree, but one of my websites, a good friend worked for me, got a real estate license, and we did 2 bios on the website for the Meet the Team, right? So we had her professional bio, and then you would flip it over, and it was a picture of her doing something she absolutely loved, or whatever the hobby was of that agent. Me, I was lifting weights. That's what I do. It's my only hobby, other than family and, food. I love the gym and I love to stay healthy and I love to lift weights. Well, this lady, Tina, that worked for me, we flip her over and she was holding her grandson at the time. And so her personal bio was the fact that she was a grandmother. So I got a Google phone call that day, and they said, "Hey, I would like to hire Miss Tina Rogers." And I said, "Okay." And so she got on the phone with them and she asked them, "How did you get my number?" And they said, "Well, we just started researching real estate agents and you're a grandmother and we really liked, how sweet and caring you are. And we think that you would be a good fit for us." Now, had she hidden that fact from the world, her personal side, her authentic side of what drives her, what she loves to do outside of work life, she would not have received that client or that $16,000 commission, well, which then transferred over into many more commissions because of referrals. You don't want to hide from who you are, and you want to narrow all this down, and you want to divvy up your posts and your reels and your stories and everything that you're doing, and you want to have a nice mix of personal and professional. And the reason is because not everybody is for everybody. Does that make sense? And I don't want to work with people that don't want to work with me. And, Allie doesn't want to work with people that don't want to work with her. Same for Daniel, same for Herschel. And the truth of the matter is there is so much business to be had that when you drill down and you are more specific about who you are, and you're not afraid to tell the world that, and you're willing to stand behind it, your tribe finds you. So instead of where we make a lot of mistakes when we're posting on social media is we try to overgeneralize because we don't want to miss anybody, right? So we water down our authentic self. We water down who we are, trying to make sure that we're casting a wider net. But the truth of the matter is, and Yvonne, you said it best, it just leaves everybody confused. They don't know who we are either, right? So never, ever, ever be afraid of being exactly who you are when you're finding your authentic branding. The most ridiculous example I can give you, Allie, you might remember this guy. Do you remember the Rockin' Realtor?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you would remember. So he, gentleman that I used to work with decades ago in Liberty Realty, when Liberty Realty was still around. And he was a rocker. Like, he had long hair like Aerosmith. He would rollerblade around the office and he would have headphones on and he'd be smashing, heavy metal songs. Every single one of his real estate signs said the Rockin' Realtor, his name, his license number. And I think like the logo around Rockin' Realtor was this crazy Aerosmith hair, the long hair from the heavy metal bands back in the 80s, right? And you want to talk about authentic branding identity. And he wasn't worried about anybody that would be offended by the Rockin' Realtor, right? He threw all that out the window and he was so 100% dedicated to who he was. It got him so much business. He created so much excitement around the fact that he had a lot of fun working with people. And so people were attracted to that. So it's just another example of never water yourself down. Never worry about being too general. Just be exactly who you are in your authentic self. And I guarantee you, people will get you. Your tribe will find you, which is really a beautiful thing. And you'll get more business from it. Third, build trust. So we all know that social media helps build trust, and it helps build relationships with clients and communicate with them in real time, right? So does anybody have any experience of turning maybe like a social media contact into a client through just trust engagement, maybe even through messaging or any type of response off of a post or anything of that nature? We haven't had one conversion? Daniel asks.
I think it just goes back to being authentic, right? Like I'm always posting gym stuff and things like that, and just eating out. And I've had people reach out to me just wanting to work with me just because I work out and I have the same type of mindset. So it's just about being authentic, and that builds trust, and getting in front of the camera, doing video, and just showing people who you really are. That's why I don't think you should separate business and personal, because you're going to attract who you want to work with. And the goal of real estate is, really design your life and work with people you want to work with. So be yourself and you're going to attract the right people. And, just by posting and being you, that's going to build trust because you're relatable to them.
So tell us about a time when you converted a social media contact.
So I grew up playing sports, and then after high school, everybody kind of falls off of just weightlifting and working out and, just personal development and things. But I remember one client actually hit me up after he'd been following me forever. I didn't really know who he was, but I was always posting books and mindset and quotes. And he reached out to me. He's like, I really love your mindset and who you represent. Like, I want to work with you. I'm looking to buy a house. So that was just one example, but it happens all the time.
That's awesome. So by posting and by being his authentic self, I don't know if any of you follow Daniel Stewart, but if you don't, you should. He is really, I love watching Daniel's. Yes, Herschel's getting a big thumbs up. I love watching Daniel's post because I get inspired by following Daniel, right? And so that's his authentic self. He's always reading books. He's always bettering himself. And he's not afraid to share that and share that with the world. And so what happened? He attracts people who want to be around that and want a little bit more of that. That's a great example.
Very good.
What's that?
I said Daniel's doing really good.
Yes, he is. And we're going to take it to the next level even, because there's always another level, right? Like in life and in work, it doesn't matter how good you are, right? There's always more room to be better, right? So has anybody read the book Good to Great? Yeah. I mean, if you haven't read the book Good to Great, I highly recommend it, because good is the devil, good and like hitting a level and staying there and thinking that you've arrived or that there's nothing beyond that is the world's misnomer, right? We can always elevate ourselves. Okay, now I've done this and that's exciting and I can look back and I might be proud of that, but what's next, right? So Daniel's doing awesome and we're elevating it every single day. All righty, so next, generate and nurture leads. And we kind of talked about that. And we're going to get into more specifics about how to generate and nurture leads through social media platforms in just a little bit. But don't be afraid to tell people what you do. I know, what the worst thing that can ever happen to a real estate agent is what? You're sitting on Facebook, you're scrolling through, and there's your best friend from high school posting a picture of their brand new house they purchased and they didn't use you, right? Which is another main reason to merge those accounts. Because if social media is about helping you build trust and brand awareness, and you're actually letting your friends on your personal account know that you sell real estate, you're going to have a much better chance of not getting overlooked when things like that happen, right? Somebody who you might have lost contact with for a while. Guys, I have an AOL email address. I get so much crap for that. Do you know why I have that AOL email address? Do you still have one, Herschel? I'll get an email there every once in a while and it'll be like, hey, are you still in the real estate game? Absolutely. Let's go. You never know how, you never know where the next lead is going to come, and time can.
All right, brother. Yeah, I'll give it okay.
Say that again. Oh, I don't know who that was. So, you never know who's watching you. You never know who's looking, right? And so it could be that friend from high school 20 years ago that's in the bit or looking to make a move, and they've just been watching you. And because you're not afraid to say what you do to your friends, you have a much better chance of actually getting that business. Grow your audience and build community. I think that kind of speaks for itself. And then stay top of mind. Stay top of mind is really exactly what we're talking about, right? So every time you post, you might not think that you're getting a lot of engagement, but here's what I'm going to tell you is that people are seeing it. You know, not everybody pushes the heart button. Not everybody clicks the, subscribe. However, at the end of the day, as long as you're getting yourself out on the internet waves, people are seeing it. So they might not acknowledge it, but you're still in their headspace, right? And what you just want to do is you want to stay in people's headspace. In fact, Daniel and I sent out, we're going kind of old school too. It's great because we're talking about social media, and with technology and the rapid changes in technology and all these platforms that we have available to us, it's incredible. However, we're also kind of going old school over here, and we're doing paper campaigns. So at the beginning of the year, we went through my list of 30 years of database, and I think we sent out how many cards?
500.
We sent out 500 cards. I got a lot, and some people, you sell them a house and they might live in it for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's not a lot of repeat business there because they're steady eddies, but we're doing these paper campaigns, and one of the responses that I did receive resulted in a sale immediately. And honestly, she's one of those people that I sold her last home 15 years ago. However, somebody in the family needed to sell a property. And she was like, I never would have even imagined you were still in the business, and she's not on social media. So it's just another way of staying in headspace, right? So every time you post, don't be a click counter. Don't worry about, oh my God, I only got 3 likes on this post. My life is over. Don't worry about that. They mean nothing. Well, I'm not saying like going viral couldn't like be incredible for you. I'm just saying don't judge yourself based on engagement to the tune of how many likes you got. Just keep doing it and staying in the headspace. That is the most important thing. So that's the role of social media. And now we want to talk a little bit about the rules of social media.
So believe it or not, there's actually rules of social media. I'm just kidding. But if you want to be successful in it, there definitely is rules to it. And the first bullet point we have is pick your platforms and live there consistently. There's so many different social media channels that it's so hard to keep up with all of them. So you need to pick some and be great at them. Focus on the ones that you really know and post content and live there. Because the worst thing that you could possibly do is start a social media and then never use it. You never go on the platform. So now when clients go and see that inactive social media profile, they think you're just a real estate agent who tried and gave up. So the worst thing you could do is start a social media channel and not use it. So, pick 1 or 2 and just live there consistently.
I say 3.
3?
Go pick 3 platforms and live there.
Yep. And for me, those are Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok now, but Facebook and Instagram is where my sphere of influence is, and that's where the most business is going to come for you. So you need to focus on your sphere of influence and stay top of mind with them. And the next thing is post with intention. I think one of the coolest stories is actually from Pam, who she started, Fun Foodie Friday, and she was doing it so consistently that when she stopped, people were reaching out to her like, where's the next Foodie Friday? Like, what are you doing? So it's very important to post with intention. And for me, it just makes it easier. You know exactly what to talk about. And for me, what that means is I have like different days that mean different things. So every Monday, it's my market update Monday. Tuesdays, Tuesday tips, and then, like Fridays, Fun Foodie Fridays. So just be intentional with what you're posting and people start looking forward to it. And it really just gives you like a roadmap of what you have to do, which brings us to the next thing is time blocking. We could have the perfect plan, but if you're not time blocking it, then it's not going to happen. So, and for me personally, I like to use social media time kind of towards the end of the day. I want to be productive. I want to do my prospecting in the beginning of the day, but, save an hour or 2 at the end of your business day to make videos, to build content, and, just go out there. And then which brings it to the next next point is just get good on the go. When you're doing showings, like you should be filming it. You should be creating engagement. Like people love seeing the inside of houses and things like that, and be able to tell stories on the go of what you guys are experiencing in the market and things like that. You just want to be relatable. People want to see you, and then pick a style and duplicate over and over. I think that's your thing. I get yelled at all the time.
It's part of branding, and it's tough because it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to play with some things. Hopefully every single one of you are using Canva. If you don't have somebody that does your assets for you, Canva is free. It's an incredible platform to make assets. It will actually size it. It'll say, do you want to make a Facebook post? Do you want a LinkedIn header? Do you want an Eventbrite banner? And it will actually size it for you. And it is incredible. I mean, it's like every single one of us has a free platform to be a branding and marketing expert through Canva. But you want to duplicate, so that when people see your post, they see the Nike swoosh. Oh my gosh, that's Daniel, Okay.
Text over video. So I forgot the stat that I heard, but I think it's 93% of people who are on their phone never even turn the sound on. So it's incredibly important to have captions. I started doing it, started increasing my views so much. So you need to have text over videos, and we're going to get into some little bit of tools later that'll help you with that. Hashtags and keywords, of course, are always good, because if people look up hashtags, it just helps you with being seen and your reach. And then the last point is give value. It's not all about you. And what I mean by this is that for the biggest thing, I used to hate getting in front of the camera. Like I hated it. I still do kind of hate it sometimes, but you just have to change your perspective. We get so worried about, how do I look? Do I look good? Is the lighting good? But if you're focusing on value, that's all that matters. Like when you focus on value, you just worry about yourself less. When you're giving value, the person who's listening or the person who you're talking to is going to want to hear it. So just focus on giving value. You have to do video and get in front of the camera. People want to see you. And what I realized too is like, I've increased my engagement and leads that I've gotten so much just by getting in front of the camera. Like I used to do a market update, which was just stats on a paper, and no one's reading that. I see other people post them. I'm not reading that, So, but if you get in front of the camera, you could actually, they experience, what's happening in the market, and, be able to give them tips and tricks to save money, or, how other clients are winning, and that might get them in the game to want to buy or sell.
Well, and that's a really, really good example. So a lot of agents will post market updates, right? And it's a bunch of stats and it's a bunch of numbers. But does the general John Q consumer actually understand what that means? What does that mean to him? Does that mean it's a good time to sell? Does that mean it's a good time to buy? Does that mean that prices are going up? If they have no basis of understanding what those numbers mean, all you're doing is making yourself feel better by posting stats. It's not actually really helping the consumer to better understand the market. But let's say you want to deliver stats every Friday stats. That's awesome. Deliver the stats, but then give, even if it's a 15 or 30-second video overlay that adds the context of what's going on. It could be 15 seconds of, guys, I don't know what's happening, but inventory is shrinking again. What is going on? Interest rates are going up and inventory is shrinking again. So if you're looking at whatever the story is for you, do you know what I'm saying? But if you can compare inventory week over week or month over month, you become an information broker, and you're doing more than just, checking a to-do list off the box by posting something. You're actually adding value and something that people can understand and get behind. And then you're building trust, you're building a brand, it's your authentic self delivering the message, and everything just comes together. Right?
Yeah, love it. Next slide.
Okay, so creating content. Let's have Raise a hands of everybody who loves videoing themselves. Oh my gosh, I don't see any hands. Nope, no hands. It's awkward, right? And the truth of the matter is that one of my favorite acronyms is JFDI, and that's just F and do it. There is no way to get comfortable filming yourself and delivering information other than just doing it. Rip the Band-Aid off. You don't need 20 takes, I promise you. We are our own worst critics. We judge ourselves harder than anyone else out there, you know, and just start small if you want to. Believe it or not, you can deliver a lot of great information in 15 to 30 seconds. Does anybody here follow Valdez, Michael Valdez, EXP Growth Coordinator on Instagram? So Michael's incredible. Michael does 15-second videos every single time. I can tell you Michael's trick because it's a great one. He has somebody record him walking, and he'll do the portrait mode or the cinematic mode. So it's just his body. Everything else is kind of blurred out behind it. He's talking, he's delivering some information. 50% of the time, it's just good tips for life. The other 50% of the time, it's real estate driven. The camera is always upside down. Just for those of you who don't know this trick, if you want to do a full body shot and you want to talk and walk, flip your iPhone upside down. For some reason, the video comes out spectacular. The angle is so much better. So I can tell you, when Michael Valdez does his video, he delivers so much information in 15 seconds. It doesn't have to be a long time, but it's incredibly branded, and he always uses the captions on it as well. And in a program like Instagram, all you have to do is push a button and it does the captions for you. And it will also give you an opportunity to correct the words before they actually go out, just in case they got something wrong, right? So it's super simple. But he's been incredibly successful in 15-second stints. Video doesn't have to be overwhelmingly long. And the only way to get comfortable with it is to just keep doing it. The other thing about video is you can use video in so many ways to enhance your business. I had one agent who she wanted to be more personable when she delivered information to clients, right? So starting with mostly like listing or with buyers from getting into contract forward. So we spent an entire weekend and we videoed A to Z little messages from her about the next steps in the transaction or what was going on. So, you know, one video might be, congratulations, your offer just got accepted and we're opening escrow. The next thing you're going to have to do is make that earnest deposit, yada, yada, yada. And she literally banked 25 different videos that she was able to create in a weekend. And she would text these videos to her clients and they loved them. I'm not saying it took the place of phone conversations or, you know, but it made it so personal for them. And she was delivering the right information every single time. So that's a form of video that you can use. But we do know that on social media, video is dominating. And there's a million different ways that you can use video. Daniel was talking earlier about banking content. So let's say, like, for instance, I was interviewed by Stephanie Gillizan of EXP Commercial not long ago, just talking about EXP Commercial, the platform, the benefits, pros, all those things. And it turned out to be an hour interview. So what I did was I took that 1 hour video and I chopped it up into little 15-second increments. I was like, oh my gosh, I find 15 seconds where you sound really smart, right? And then I was taking those 15-second increments and I was branding them to myself, and I would post those out on stories or whatever. And then what you could do, because I had the actual video posted to my YouTube channel, I could put a link, hear the entire video here. Now I'm creating movement in my social media. I'm actually taking people from one platform to another because video is that powerful. It's absolutely dominating. Gone are the days where people where people are interested by a static post or a beautiful picture. They do help and it's great and they're necessary, but video is just absolutely dominating. People want to see you. Video is the number one way to build trust, and that's by posting videos, being your authentic self, being an information broker, being goofy walking through a house, whatever it is, video, that's how people are going to get to know you, right? So believe it or not, if you post often enough, you're going to have a lot of people who feel like they know you, right? You're letting them see the inside of your life, if you will. And so just based on that and building the trust, video is the number one dominating way to kill social media right now. So they want to see you. You can do property walkthroughs. You can get hyper local content and focus on your tribe to attract the right people, like go through neighborhoods. I mean, do you know that Summerlin has 23 villages? So Daniel and I, we actually failed on this. We made a goal at the beginning of the year that we were going to highlight all 23 villages in 1 year. And so how cool would it be? I mean, there's the trails, there's the ridges, there's
so many,
the paseos. So if you want to get hyper local and you want to dominate Summerlin, what better way than to time block and deliver in 1 year 23 videos, hyper local on 23 villages in Summerlin to your community. And then you could get really crazy and you could start geotagging those videos to a location, which helps drive traffic as well, which we're going to talk about a little bit more.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I have if you guys struggle with video ideas, I have a bunch of video ideas, like over 100. If you want to email me and I'll shoot you those your way. But a thing with videos too, I challenge you to ask yourself, how can I create engagement in a big way? Like I've been changing my videos and like Instagram and all these tools. We have so many tools where you can add little polls and questions and things like that creates engagement, engages people. But on the back end, you're seeing all these people who are participating, and you're just those are leads. You just got to nurture. They're eventually going to come. But if people are engaging in those little things, they're gonna they're leads, and you gotta, you can even ask questions like, are you gonna buy within the next 1 to 3 months, or just get creative, but ask yourself, how could I create engagement and how could I get people to participate? Videos alone are going to create more engagement, but now add a little step to it and do a little questionnaire and things like that. All right.
Does everybody have Daniel's email address in case you need that? Leave it up there 1 more second. Go in. Okay.
All right, so now we got the social media channels. We're going to go into the nitty gritty, but you got Google My Business, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. I think there's more, but
there's a ton more, but we're going to highlight the 6 most common, right? So just out of curiosity, how many of you out there have a Google My Business page?
No one.
I do.
Yvonne does. Yvonne Lee does as well.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Awesome. So Google My Business page is really important. Now, because we work with eXp Realty and eXp Commercial, it is a little more difficult because we're a cloud brokerage. I was able to do it because I do have an office space. Even before I held an office space at WeWork, and ironically, our broker does as well. So we had actually the same address. But I was just able to use my suite number for my office door to get that approved. So you do have to have a business address. And if that business address is already taken, which, obviously could be a problem with eXp Realty and eXp Commercial, then it wouldn't be available to you. But that is not to say that there are not workarounds, right? Yeah. So you might even work with Spencer doing like a different type of suite number or something like that to get that approved. But Google My Business is a phenomenal tool to legitimize yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it drives so much organic traffic if you just post on it consistently. And there's a bunch of tips and tricks, but I know it's important because I've gone to several conferences from Tom Ferry to Inman to EXPCon. They're all talking about Google My Business. So it's very important. And not only that, it's owned by Google. So anytime someone searches your name, if you have a Google business page, you're going to be one of the first people that pop up. So you need to capitalize on it. And then, when you create one, just make sure you fill out all your tabs and stuff. But one of the biggest things that I want to give to you guys is that I don't know if you guys know it, but if you go onto your pictures and click on your pictures, you can actually change the location of where your pictures were taken if it's not tagged. So you could geotag your pictures, and when you upload them to Google My Business with other hashtags on that photo, like listing agent, buyer's agent, every time someone's looking for a realtor in that specific area where the photo was, you're going to be one of the first people that pop up if they're searching on Google. So it's a little upside down exclamation mark on your photo where you could actually change the location of it. And I've been doing it. I only started my Google My Business page probably 6 months ago. And I think last month I had like 500 people just like organic traffic that were looking at my profile. And no matter what, if you're going on listing presentations and you're getting out there and interviewing with people, potential sellers, buyers, they're going to look you up. So you need to have your Google My Business page, and it just looks good. But stay consistent with it. You want to post a lot of pictures and be personable. You got to post things that you love, because that's how you're going to attract the people you want to work with.
Another benefit is that you get to display a website, right? So everybody's provided with a website through KV Core at eXp Realty. So you can actually display that website address on your Google My Business page. And so then you're going to have anybody that clicks it going into your KV Core, searching for properties. Now they're in your CRM. So we're always connecting the dots and connecting social media every single way we can. The last thing about Google My Business that I'll say is that I do believe that Google reviews are probably the most legitimate and widely searched over anything else for a real estate agent. So every time we do a transaction, one caveat is that who's ever giving the review has to have a Gmail address. However, most people typically have a Gmail address. Maybe it might not be, the one that they use all the time, but most people do have a Gmail address. But every time we close a transaction, we always ask for a Google review. It's something that you can actually just text from your page to your client with a nice little request. And all they have to do is right from their phone, click how many stars they want to give you, which is always 5. And then they could write a nice little something about you. But your Google reviews, the more reviews you get, the higher it will also push you up in your algorithms. And your Google reviews don't have to just be from past clients, right? They could be from vendors that you've worked with. They could be from all kinds of people that work aside you in the real estate industry, So reach out to get your reviews up and running. Reach out to lenders and escrow officers that you've worked with, home inspectors, everybody in the industry that has an idea of how you do business because they've worked with you. Have them write a review for you, and you could really start to get some traction there. So that is a little bit about Google My Business. And don't forget to use hashtags. I think that Daniel definitely stated that. And again, if you choose to use Google My Business as a social media platform, then that's one of the platforms that you're going to make sure you time block for, and you're going to constantly be nurturing it. I'll tell you, one of the biggest transactions I ever did when I owned my own business, which was First Real Estate Companies, came through my Google page, believe it or not. It was pretty incredible. The phone always rang, and it was either somebody looking for a rental or somebody looking for industrial property. I have no idea why. I couldn't ever figure out, like, two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But we did one of our largest industrial deals 100% because of Google My Business. The next platform is Facebook. And I would say that, this is the one that people are probably most familiar with. And Daniel made the best point, is that your sphere of influence probably lives on Facebook for a lot of us. That's where you're going to really get the biggest bang for your buck. even if you're attached, like I have a ton of other real estate professionals that I'm attached to on Facebook, and I love it. I love to give them props and kudos, and I love to see what they're doing, and it helps me understand the market and what's going on. But this is where your sphere of influence that is most likely to interact with you is probably living. So Facebook is probably one of those platforms that you're going to want to use. It's another one where you just get to stay in people's headspace. You know, the algorithms of Facebook are a mystery. That's a mystery we're not demystifying today while we demystify social media. The algorithms of Facebook change frequently and constantly. But one thing that I can say is that I'm not sure if you guys know, but you can leverage marketing reps from title companies to support you with your business. And there's some incredible marketing reps out there with Fidelity. Sandra Howdigi with WFG Title is a Facebook ad maniac. She can come in my office, she can grab my Mac, and she's like, give me the picture, tell me about it. And all of a sudden I'm up and running, and I haven't done anything. But it's, you know, think about it this way. Marketing reps are here to help you do more business. Why?
They want business too.
Exactly. Because the more business we're doing, the more business we get to refer to them, the more escrows that we get to open, right? So don't ever be afraid to leverage support from your marketing reps. Facebook ads is definitely, for me, one of those places where I leverage support because I'm just not that great at it, right? And Facebook ads are, you know, again, a little bit of a mystery, and we have to make sure that we're living within the housing guidelines, and you don't want your ad to get, you know, taken down, or you want to make sure that your ad is actually running and that you're actually getting what you pay for. So it's just one of those. It's great. Pro is that that's where most of your SOI is going to be. Cons is that the algorithms are constantly changing, so it's hard to know who you're getting in front of constantly. There are some really interesting things going on with Instagram. So I'm going to jump to the bottom of the page, and I'm not sure if you guys are on Instagram enough to notice, or if you have heard, the Instagram algorithms have completely changed. They've completely flipped the switch on Instagram algorithms. So now what's happening, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you might see somebody else's post in your story, or more, not in your story, what's it called, in your feed, more than once. So let's say Daniel and I are friends, and Daniel posted something, and I was thumbing through my feed and I saw it, but I didn't engage. Maybe a week later, they would throw it back in front of me and say, are you sure you don't want to put a little heart on that? Daniel worked really hard to make this video. So what's happening on Instagram is that your posts and your videos are living longer, and they're living longer because they're targeting who to put them in front of. So I'll say that again, they are targeting who to put them in front of. Your posts and your stories and your reels and everything else that goes on with Instagram is no longer just going in front of your contacts. It's going in front of people that have similar interests as you. Yeah, so if you're posting about real estate and someone else is looking for real estate, there's a very good chance they're going to see that post. And that's pretty dang exciting. So you may have also noticed that you're getting likes from random people. Like, I don't even know this person. We're not even connected. How did they see this? They saw it because you targeted it well enough that it actually made it to their feed.
Yeah. And I'll say too, like, with Instagram, I've noticed, both of us have noticed, is that you also have to engage with other people. You know, you want to create engagement, but you also got to engage with other people. And engaging is beyond just likes, but it's commenting on stories. And I noticed that when I DM people and when I comment on their post, their feed is now always coming in mine. So you got to comment a lot and just engage with other people too, because that's going to only bring your profile to them a bunch of times. And then I guess one little Instagram tip that I've learned as well is there's stories, there's posts, and there's reels. For stories, you need to create engagement. Again, create polls, questions, and tests, and just create engagement there. And then with Reels, instead of putting hashtags, there's actually this topics button that you can put. So you definitely want to use the topics. The topics are going to bring you a lot more engagement rather than hashtags, and put your post in front of more people. And then, live, you got to go live.
Live is crazy. If you want to, if you even have the slightest fear about being in front of a camera, going live is like you burnt the ship. There's no going back, right? But here's what I'm going to tell you is that people love authenticity, and they love stutters. They love when it's not perfect, because it becomes very relatable. So it's great. Like lives, I should say, will get more engagement than ever. I did a little reel for Daniel. He celebrated his birthday not too long ago, and this is where I discovered the difference in Instagram and had to start researching it a little bit. The reel did okay, but then for some reason 2 weeks later it doubled in engagement, and then a week after that it tripled in engagement. So it's interesting, whereas before when we would post, it was like an instant and then there was nothing, right? So now what Instagram is doing, they're going, you know what? Pam doesn't usually get this much engagement on her videos, but she did pretty good on this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw it out there, and we're going to keep throwing it out there, and we're going to see if this one's any good. So that's another thing that's changed in Instagram algorithms. Your presence is living longer, right? It's living a lot longer. And I know that, for somebody who doesn't post on Instagram a lot, maybe some of Daniel's suggestions kind of like went straight over your head with, what are they called?
Polls.
With polls. Does everybody know how to do a poll? Because polls are great. Polls are great to interact with people. Does everyone here know how to do a poll? I'm going to give you a quick little rundown. I'll let Daniel give you a quick little rundown on a poll, because we are running out of time. We want to be time sensitive, but quick little rundown on a poll.
I don't have my phone with me, but
okay.
You basically, when you post a story on Instagram, there's a little button that you can actually click down from the top menu that's a poll, and you can do it where they, adjust the little bar, they actually pick a little answer.
So all those buttons on the top do things. Okay. So I'm in my story. I just said I want to post that video, and then I would go to here, and it's going to give me all kinds of options. Do you want to put another picture in here? Do you want to put the weather in here? Do you want to geotag your location? Do you want to do a poll? So a really good idea for doing a poll are just some fun little things. Like, would you rather live in Summerlin or Henderson? And you smash two pictures side by side, Summerlin or Henderson. Let people engage with you. It's about creating engagement, and polls are wonderful.
So we could give them the slides, but maybe we go to tools.
Yeah, TikTok. I want to talk really quick about YouTube. Everybody should have a YouTube channel. YouTube is now more widely searched than Google. So when people want to figure things out, they go to YouTube. And YouTube is hypercritical about being specific. The more specific your video is on YouTube, the way more engagement you'll get. Don't be generic when you're posting on YouTube. It has to be very specific. An example of something specific would be the difference between the crash of 2008 and the economy today, and then hashtag the heck out of it and do your keywords.
I think one thing we noticed with YouTube is just be hyper local. That's going to get you the most engagement, and not a lot of people are doing hyper local content. And one other thing that me and Pam found out is that when you name like a new listing, if you name the YouTube the name of the property address, it's going to be the #1 thing that shows up on Google every single time. So make videos. And another thing I realized is that
hold on one second. Here's a tip about those videos, right? Everybody pays for professional photos. If you're not paying for professional photos, you should, because people are searching with their thumb. You get paid tenfold back in quicker sales, better sales, if you're getting professional photos. So let those professional photos come in. take your phone and go do remember, when you're doing YouTube, you have to film this way, right? YouTube is horizontal. Most other things are vertical. But you film horizontal, do a little video walkthrough of the house, and then take those videos, take those professional photos and kind of lay some of them in as B-roll. And you could do that in Canva. You can do that in a program called Magisto. There's a million different programs where you can do this, and it's easy. You could do it on your Mac, in whatever that program is that comes on the Mac. But then what you do is you upload this video to YouTube, you name it the property address, and it's amazing. Anybody who types in this property address, your YouTube video is going to be one of the very first hits they see. And do channels. So in other words, sometimes separate your business. So maybe you have a YouTube, one of your channels on your YouTube page is for properties and real estate. Maybe another channel on your YouTube page is, maybe you do Fun Foodie Fridays, and that's where they're all landing. So keep your content separated as much as you can, but keep it all on one page. And we are wrapping up.
Let's go to the tools.
LinkedIn. So remember, pick your platforms, pick your poison. I love LinkedIn. It's definitely one of the platforms that I choose to have in my social media kit, if you will. But there's nothing worse, like Daniel said, than opening up a page and not posting on it. So LinkedIn is just a great opportunity to network with other professionals, to get leads and referrals. I've actually gotten a lot of business off of LinkedIn just from, probate attorneys or divorce attorneys, or just being able to network with other individuals. But it's a very specific type of social network. So pick your channels and stay consistent. Be great at the ones you're most familiar with. Make a plan and be intentional. We preach about time blocking. Social media doesn't happen on itself. You have to be authentic. You have to be intentional and build authentic and valuable content. There's lots of tools out there that can help you.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend all these tools. GPT, if you haven't heard of it, you should, but you can write a bunch of blogs. My favorite is property descriptions. I hate writing property descriptions, so it's very helpful. You can do a bunch of video ideas. It's up to you. It's up to the questions you ask. So the better the questions, the better the answers. It tells you a bunch of local facts. I learned a lot about Summerlin, that there's over 150 miles of trails in it and a whole bunch of stuff from ChatGPT. So that's a big thing. Utilize, what we have, EXP Marketing Center. Big U is a good video tool. It's basically a teleprompter. So if you're having trouble memorizing what you want to speak about, you could enter, a little script in it, and you could just read it as it goes, and no one will ever know. It looks like you're looking at the camera and doing videos. So that's good. Loom is another video program where you could share your screen and talk. So I like using Loom for going over comps with the prospective seller and sending it to them so they could see my face, they could see the comps, they could see everything I'm looking at. QR codes is good for direct mail, so put them on your postcard. I like to use QR codes to bring them to a free home evaluation site, or you could bring them to QR codes about a new listing, and you have a single page squeeze page using KV Core. And then Hootsuite is something that if you hate posting to every site individually, it'll post to all your social medias at one time in one click of a button.
Love it. So what we covered the role of social media, the rules of social media channels, social media tools, and don't forget, it's video, video, video. Does anyone have any questions?
That was a lot. That was great.
Well, I hope that we didn't make it more confusing. The truth of the matter is that if you pick your platforms, maybe you start with 2 platforms, pick your 2 platforms and learn them, become experts at those platforms, time block time to build your content, and then take that content and just reuse it everywhere, and then link your social media platforms to one another when you can. If you can post a story about a YouTube video that you did and just 15 seconds of it, and then put the link to your YouTube channel and then ask them to subscribe to your channel. Just watch your business grow. Just watch your business grow. You will become the information broker of Las Vegas real estate.
Pam?
Yes.
One of the things that I have heard is that you shouldn't be a what I would call a hit and run poster. And that is, you make your post and then you leave the platform. It's my understanding that if you engage in, like in Facebook, and you look at other people's content and like their content, there's an algorithm that moves you up in the platform as well. And as you like other people's posts, they are encouraged to look at your posts and like them, and then that puts it on their wall or on their feed. And have you heard this? Yep. Does this make sense?
100% accurate. I think Daniel was talking about that earlier when we were talking about Instagram. So yes, the more you engage, those people will come into your feed. Absolutely.
It's the giver's gain of social media.
Yeah. Lastly, I just want to say too, just be smarter with content. Like you gotta, for me, I had a market update Monday, Tuesday tips, foodie Friday. Like instead of doing something every single day, it's too complicated. The biggest way that I found it to be helpful is just pick one day. For me, it's Mondays, and just knock out all your content for the week to best utilize your time, because other days you should be prospecting and following up. So just take one day out of the week to just bust all that out. And then lastly, just don't forget to get good on the go. So when you're doing little inspections or property walkthroughs, just, film it and create engagement, utilize pools, ask questions, let people know that, instead of just a walkthrough, I'm at an inspection, the inspection is, why do we do an inspection? Why do I always suggest it? So just create more engagement, give more value, and just focus on giving value. Don't worry about how you look. And
Good
bam.
job. And as always, nobody ever takes me up on this, but if you have any questions after this, reach out to me. We would love, if you said this, Pam, and I don't really know how to do that, we're so happy to help you and support you through it. We can't get through everything in an hour, and it is a lot of information. The most important thing is, if you have a question, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're here.
Thank you, Pam and Dan.
Thank you.
That was very educational and helpful.
You're
Great stuff.
welcome. Good luck, guys. Go kill it.
Thank you,
very much.
guys.